All right. This is going to be the coolest series on Daphnia you have ever seen. All right. I've been an aquarist my whole life, and I have cultured these things for decades. A lot of times in buckets, but in aquariums and containers, and so I'm going to make a series of videos here. And what I'm doing really is I'm testing a few techniques. It's fall right now, and I'm going to start selling my Daphnia cultures, and I want to test a few things. You know, just for instance, I like to sell a cycled culture. You'll see for sale a lot of bags of Daphnia. They're in a small amount of water. I don't like doing that because when you get a lot of Daphnia in a little bit of water, the Daphnia tend to show up damaged and the water toxic, and you have to transfer them all into your water, and it's a great time to crash, to kill them all, because they've probably already showed up in that process. So what I like to do is sell an already cycled culture. It's just a mini culture that I've been feeding for a month or two, and it usually has fewer Daphnia in it, but all you really have to do is put that under a light and it will continue to produce Daphnia that you can pick from. So it gives you Daphnia over a longer period of time. So, but I want to test a few things. For example, I'd like to send this to folks, and I've done this for a long time, but I've always wanted to include a substrate. So I'm testing an egg, so just a calcium substrate, or a cocoa fiber substrate, or an egg with cocoa fiber substrate. And I'm going to see which one the Daphnia do best in. There's a couple things I'm curious about. So I just want to improve what I do. And, there's going to be another little experiment here. I'm testing soft water against regular hardness water. All right? I will get into all this stuff. I'm going to share my best, most secret techniques with you. I'll tell you why, because my wife retired, and I kind of started to retire, and Daphnia are fun, and I'm going to focus on them a little bit, and I'm just going to share my secrets. All I ask is, if you need Daphnia at any point, just come to me. I'm the guy. All right, I'll get you the best product. Okay. And this big thing here you see is going to be a demonstration culture. It's easy to see in this, and I will use this to explain some of the things we do with our Daphnia. So that's just the display. I'll show you some cool things. All right, let me explain these a little bit closer, or a little bit more. I have another rack of these. Like I said, I sell these. I started this one about a week and a half ago, and what I basically do is just build up a level of or decayed organic matter. I'm essentially creating the biome. So over a couple weeks, I feed this heavily, and then I just send this to a customer, and instead of transferring all their Daphnia, right, they just keep this as their backup. And so then when this would show up at your house, you would just pick out however many Daphnia you wanted and then put them in your awaiting culture, right? So I'm just sending a mini culture. These are just some kind of test cultures I'm working on, and this is an experiment, and this is just for show. I put DAPHNIA in all these. This one I started, like I said, almost 2 weeks ago, and it's coming along just fine. And the rest of these I just added water and the DAPHNIA to. I put the water in yesterday just to let it aerate or degas because of the aerator on my faucet. But this just came out of my tap yesterday, and you're probably wondering why I did that or why that's possible. And it's because my tap water is not treated with really ugly chemicals, so I can put DAPHNIA directly in my tap water and start a culture. I'll explain all this a little bit more in detail. Like I said, this is just video one in a whole series of videos. So in this one I threw in a dozen or two DAPHNIA into each one with no food. And I want to see which ones just survive the longest, or if there's shock in one of them over the other. These are just different waters, and I got these at Walmart, and I will explain this in other videos. But there's like 2 dozen DAPHNIA in each one, and I just want to see how they do, if there's a difference. My demonstration culture, I filled it up yesterday and set it up. This would be kind of more of my typical culture. It's got some fluorite substrate, an air stone with a little bit of a small drizzle of air coming from it, and that's about it. I don't really do, I keep my cultures pretty simple. And then again, these over here, and excuse my hands, I am painting my house, so I have ugly hands right now. These cultures over here then are the substrate tests. I just want to see how, like I said, when I send stuff like this, I want to start adding a substrate, and I just want to see which works best. One thing I have to do is feed my DAPHNIA. I am not going to feed these two over here just because I want to see how they respond to the different water hardnesses. Something like this over here. Oh, and I did add a couple snails in there. So it's fluorite, the water, air stone. And I will throw in a piece of banana peel. And again, I will explain why I feed my cultures what I do. And, you know, actually in this scenario here, we are actually starting to cycle these cultures, right? So, I tell you, most people start by overfeeding their cultures. I am just starting cycling these, so I'm going to add just small amounts to begin with. You know, those are like the third size of a piece of a stamp. This one over here was just fed yesterday, a piece of grape. It doesn't need much, but I'd like to add banana peel to those new cultures regularly when I start them up. And I will explain all this stuff later. Like I said, I've played with DAPHNIA for a long time, and there's few people in the world with the experience I have with them. This set of videos now will just take us along with this journey, with this vase being the centerpiece, And then you can follow along to some of my little DAPHNIA experiments. And I will demonstrate in here some of the products that you would receive from me. So, all right, so like I said, my water is a little different in that it's not very, it is city water, but it's just not treated with the really tough stuff. So I filled these up yesterday, just put some DAPHNIA in them today, and started feeding these. The one on the end was started nearly 2 weeks ago like this, and that's something I will continue to feed till it builds up a nice organic base or biome, whatever you want to call it. And then I sell those to customers. They're under a fluorescent light right now, but I also offer these from a windowsill too, which would come from natural light. All right, so follow these DAPHNIA videos. There's going to be another set of videos that will be more instructional, I promise.